Hey everyone, this is Sean. I'm on the Flux team, and I've got a demo for you today. I wanted to show off the new join package that we've been working on. Just a little bit of history. Flux already has two implementations of join, but they didn't quite meet all of our users' needs, and they had some problems. The original join was fairly slow. It was a frequent source of bugs. It didn't have any support for outer joins, and the code was fairly convoluted and difficult to maintain, even for the original authors when they were still at the company. Um, the next attempt was experimental.join, and that was an improvement in terms of performance, but the code was still difficult to maintain, and it still didn't have any outer join support. So this new join function is an attempt to correct for that. Um, According to some just manual stress testing that I've done, it is at least as performant as experimental.join. In some cases, it's faster. Um, it has outer join support, so you can do an inner join as well as left, right, and full outer joins. And because of some improvements that the team has made to the Flux execution engine over the past year or so, the code is a lot easier to follow and we hope easier to maintain. So let's take a look at how to actually use this thing. So we're importing the join package, and then down below we're calling join.join. We're setting method to inner. We're passing in the left and right inputs. And then for the on parameter, we're passing in this function, which takes a left record and a right record. And the job of this function is to determine which records get joined together. So in this function, it should just it should be a single bool expression. So it will compare records in the left and right table. So in this case, we're comparing the label column on the left side with the ID column on the right side, and we're comparing the timestamps on both sides. And if both of those evaluate to true, then we're going to join the two records together. Then we define another function for the as parameter. Again, it takes a left and right record, but this is just defining what the output rows look like. Very similar API to experimental.join. And yeah, let's run this. So let's look at our input tables and just manually validate that we got the answer that we wanted. So the right side has two tables. They are grouped on the key column. So this is one table, this is another table. They have an ID value with labels A, B, and D, and we've got 4 records for each label. And each label has timestamp midnight, midnight plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. Left is very similar, except instead of an ID column, we have a label column, and instead of A, B, and D, we have A, C, and D. So the right side has a bunch of columns with labels B, but no columns with label C, and the left side has a bunch with label C, but no columns with label B. And we would expect in an inner join to only get, in this case, a bunch of records with A and a bunch of records with D. B and C were left out because they didn't have any matches on in the other input table. So that's exactly what we'd expect from an inner join, but the other joins could do that. Let's take a look at something that the other versions of join can't do, which is a left outer join. So this is pretty much identical query. The only difference is we're declaring the method as left. And another small difference, we're instead of setting the argument for left explicitly, we're just piping the left table into join.join. It doesn't really make a difference to how the function runs, but it's just another way that you can write the same thing. And the other arguments are exactly the same as the inner join query that we just ran. So let's run this one. Okay, so you can see again we have a bunch of records with label A, a bunch with D, and they're populated on both sides. But now we have a bunch of records with label C, and it's only populated on the left side. The right side is empty. And now it might be worth talking about how outer joins are handled in the new join function. So in the case of a left join, we're going to produce at least one row for every row on the left side. And if there aren't any matching rows on the right side, we will substitute in a right record, a default record. And that default record will have all of the group key columns populated, but everything else is going to be null. So if we want the output data to have, uh, in this case, values for label and values for underscore time, we have to get those from somewhere. So because we're doing a left join, we get them from the left side, because the right side is not guaranteed to have a value for that. That's great, and let's do pretty much the same thing, but for a right join. So we're setting the method to right, and because we're doing a right join, we're, instead of getting the label value from l.label, we're getting it from r.id, and we're getting the timestamp from the right side as well. Because the key column is part of the group key, we can get that from either side because it's guaranteed to be populated no matter what. So this, we could get it from L or R, doesn't really make a difference. So if we run this, we see that we have, again, A and D populated on both sides, but now we have a bunch of columns with label B, and those are only populated on the right side, left side is empty. And let's take a look at what a full outer join looks like. So very similar to the previous queries, but there's one key difference here. Because we can't guarantee that left will have an underscore time value or right will have an underscore time value. One of them will have it, we're just not sure which one. We have to check. So we're declaring a variable called time. If there's a timestamp on the left side, use that. Otherwise, get it from the right side. Same thing with label. If left has the label we want, use that. Otherwise, use r.id. And when we construct the output record, we're using that label value and the time value in place of something like l.underscore time or l.label. Yeah, and let's run that query and take a look at the output. So again, A and D populated on both sides. B only populated on the right side because there weren't any matching records on the left. And C only populated on the left because there weren't any matching records on the right. And yeah, that's exactly what we'd expect from a full outer join. But these inputs that we're using are relatively small. Let's run a query that has slightly larger inputs. So here, I'm using gen.tables to generate a bunch of random data, each of which will have a label that is, in this case, I'm doing some mapping logic to just make it a single lowercase letter. So that way there's more likely to be overlap between the left and right sides. But we're originally generating 10 groups, and then each of those groups will have 50 rows. So right now, each side has 500 rows, and we're going to do a full outer join. And these are all grouped by the random label that gets generated. And we're joining on underscore time. But because these are grouped by label, we're essentially joining on label and time, because join will only ever compare records that have the same group key. So let's see what the output looks like. Okay, so we've got one group that only has values on the right side. Let's continue scrolling. Some groups only have values on the left side, and some have both populated. So great, it can handle slightly larger inputs. Let's see how it handles even larger inputs. So let's put 2,000 rows in each group, and instead of 10 groups, let's generate 100 groups. And because I don't want to comb through, a large output table like this is going to be, let's just get a count of all the rows that were generated for each group. And let's time this so that we can see roughly how performant this is. So each side has 200,000 rows. We're going to run this query, see how fast we can get the output, and I'm going to pause the recording now just to jump ahead. All right, so the query finished in about 16 seconds, and you can see it generated many thousands of rows for each label. And yeah, early results are promising. This is not available for users yet. The new join function is still undergoing review and testing just to make sure it's absolutely rock solid. But we expect to roll it out soon, and we hope you try it out, give us feedback, and yeah, thank you for watching.